Hey friend, this is episode number 558 of the And So podcast with Taylor Bradford. Let's get to it. Boss Girl Creative presents And So with Taylor Bradford, business and life musings from a successful serial entrepreneur. Each week, you will hear Taylor spill the tea on all things business, life, relationships, health, and everything in between. But don't worry, each week also includes a business nugget that will help you stay on course. And now a throwback to 3-year-old Taylor who inspired all of this.
And so.
Oh man, I am so excited to be partnering with ManyChat. This is the automation software that I am using over on Instagram. They just actually unlocked a version for TikTok if you have a TikTok business account. But this is what is working for me in my sleep. ManyChat. It is auto DMs when somebody uses a keyword, either replying to one of your stories or replying to one of your pieces of content. It will DM that person the thing that they are seeking from your content. This is something that is truly a game changer, especially in growth. And once your account gets bigger and you cannot handle the DMs on your own. ManyChat offers a 2-week free pro trial to check it out for yourself. Go to bossgirlcreative.com/ManyChat. That's MANYCHAT. Again, that is bossgirlcreative.com/ManyChat. Okay, welcome to today's episode. I am so excited because I finally have so much more to tell you about my Instagram. We're going to be talking about leveraging Instagram in the Business Nugget. But let's dive into what's been going on in my world. Let's start with my garden. My concrete was poured for my greenhouse. That is so incredibly exciting. The drain works because we had rain over the weekend, and you can see where the amount of water shed coming off that concrete needed a place to go, and it came out the drain, which is really great. I'm glad the drain system works. I need to plant out the remaining onions. And so that wraps up for the garden. Our hanger door for the Barnuminium build is starting, I think, today. And we're also trimming out the windows that are installed before we put the sheet metal on the exterior for my Barnuminium. And I believe they're going to start trimming out for the doors and getting the exterior doors installed. So that is way exciting. I semi-finalize all of my plumbing fixtures and like valves and drains and all of that. But my husband does not want gold fixtures in our house. He thinks that is going to be an 80s trend, and I don't blame him. So now I'm teetering on whether or not I just go all black everywhere. The coloring in my house will support that. My building is legitimately charcoal. My windows are legitimately black. I think black will be okay. So we're going to be making the color change. I need to get back with the plumbing person on all of those things. And let's see, books. I didn't finish a book. I'm actually reading the Dan Brown number 6 in the Robert Langdon series. I think it's number 6. It's the most recent one. Like I legitimately crammed myself through all of the previous books in this series so that I could understand this most recent one. And yeah, and they're long. They're like 18 hours to listen to. So I'm in the throes of that book. And okay, let's talk about the course and all things Instagram. I haven't had any sales yet. I'm not surprised by that. I literally had a very underwhelming Instagram account. And remember in the last couple of weeks, I've talked about like trying to figure out, can I make Instagram be the one platform that I focus on for a solid year to drive traffic to my course? And I believe that answer is yes. I am seeing so much movement. I'm going to give you the stat breakdown. You know what is funny is I've been looking for the notebook where I tracked last year's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts experiments. I was like, I know I have this book somewhere. Like, what did I do with this notebook? It's legitimately the notebook I use for the podcast notes every single week. So I was writing my notes this morning and I was like, I bet my experiment's sitting in this notebook, and I have literally been pulling my hair out trying to figure out what notebook I was using. The one that is sitting in your lap every week, Taylor. That is the notebook. So I found where I started last year's experiment, posting the same type of content on all the platforms to see what kind of movement I could get. Now, back then, I did not have a course to sell. I was simply trying to figure out if I could compound my interest like you do in the stock market on social media, right? So TikTok was the best at compounding. I didn't have much luck with Instagram, and I had some luck with YouTube Shorts, but I was literally trying to just compound my efforts to move my accounts forward. And I never considered how bad the followers I had last year on my Instagram would be the thing that would hold it back. And now that I can see what my numbers were, so I thought I maybe only gained 60-ish followers all of last year, 2025. I found all my notes and I actually did gain 153 followers in a year. But let me tell you, yesterday, in a full 24-hour period, I gained 121 followers. So I nearly surpassed the entire amount of growth I had on Instagram last year in one single day. Holy cow. Okay, so currently I'm sitting at, let's see, how many followers am I sitting at? Well, the follower part doesn't matter. It's how many I gained. So in the first half of 2025, I gained 120 followers. And is that right? 120? Yes. And then the second half of 2025, I gained 33 follows. So my compounding did work, seeing as I got 120 follows in those 6 months. And then when I stopped compounding, it was 33 follows. I was still posting consistently. I just didn't have the same mindset of trying that compounding experiment. So a total of 153 follows in 1 year. And yeah, that's mind-boggling considering yesterday I got 121 follows. So in 17 days of this new strategy where I was like, you know what, I'm going to just go all in on Instagram and see if I could do this. I deleted 1,700 and something followers, and I started posting the current posting schedule, which is a reel at 7 a.m. It automatically posts. I don't wake up and post it. I let Instagram schedule it out for me. And then around 8 or 8:30, I post a trial reel. And then around 9:30, I post the second trial reel. There's no science behind me waiting. It's just what I'm doing. I don't think that it would interfere if I posted both of them, considering they are both trials and going to non-followers. But I did hear recently Instagram now is offering, I think it's in that, slow release mode based on how many people you have engaging with you. It's kind of how they offer their releases. Obviously the larger accounts are going to have access first, and the engaged accounts are going to have access first, but they are trying a new strategy of being able to show your content to followers only. Now, you would have to have an extremely well-active follower, I think, to make a dent in that. But it may weight that content higher in your followers' feeds so that they can interact and see you again. TBD, I don't have access to that, but what it does is in your profile feed, and even as you're scrolling, if you are not following the person, their content is blurred and it says, do you want to follow this account? So if you are following that person, you will see the content. But if you are not following that person, you will not see it. It will be blurred out. I haven't seen this in action, but I did see one of the Instagram business coaches talking about it yesterday. So that seems to be coming. I don't know if it will be an actual release or if it's just going to stay in test and fail. Who knows? But that is something that Instagram is working on. Okay, so back to my current strategy. So it's the 7 a.m. reel, it's the 2 trial reels, and it's the 1 pitch story a day. Now, I do also add a couple other stories into the mix because I am a gardener. Those are the things I'm doing. I need to have social proof that I'm actually a gardener. So I do minimum 1 pitch. So that is a non-negotiable. And then I'm also sharing other content related to gardening on my Instagram stories. No more than 3 unless it's just super something I want to share about, but no more than 3 stories a day to not overwhelm anybody who's clicking through stories. So in 17 days, so right now Instagram only reports through yesterday, right? So they're a day behind in reporting, but my reporting in 17 days, I have gained 826 new followers. That is 48.5 followers a day on average in those 17 days. Yesterday was the biggest I have hit, was 121. Now I'm going to tell you why I now have a bigger growth. I am running those meta ads to get people to see a reel that performed well. So that's the content they're seeing. I'm not creating a new ad creative. They are seeing a past reel in my account that performed well organically. That is what I'm running an ad to. Okay. So I am running an ad to past content that performed well based on views and follows. And my initial ad strategy was a lookalike audience to my Instagram, but that gave me 3 follows in 5 days. And I drastically reduced that ad to just 2 creatives that seemed to be working. And then I started a second ad campaign. I think there's 5 pieces of content in there, and it is based on an interest of gardening. And that is what is gaining me follows. On, I think a couple of days ago, I went in to look at all of those things, the original ad with the 2 creatives still in there, and then the interest-based ad with the 5 creatives. And I officially turned off the first ad, and I duplicated the second ad, loaded in new creatives that were performing well. And now I have 2 interest-based ads that are utilizing reels that did well for me. And they're getting them to, like, the prompt is, here's your new favorite bestie, or here's your new favorite follow. And people are clicking that, and it's taking them to my Instagram profile. That is all it is doing. And then they can choose based on what they see, they can choose to follow me or not. Okay. So that is what I am doing. That is my current strategy as of this recording, and it is working. So if we look at my content, that part really hasn't changed. I'm producing the same types of content that I produced in the last 6 months of 2025, but now I have the algorithms unlocked for me, and people are actually getting to see my content now. Now, I wasn't producing 4 pieces of content back then like I am now, but the type of content I was producing is very similar. I will say that I do have more intention in the content creation, because now that I have metrics working for me, I am using that as the guide to what I post next. And I do plan on really truly analyzing all of my content, because I can now visually see things that are doing well, but I need to see it in spreadsheet form, because I am driven by metrics, but I have something to tangibly visualize when I open my Instagram. It's such a joy feeling. Okay, so I started all of this officially on January 31st. If I go back and look at how my account performed prior to that, the 30 days prior to January 31st, so that look is December 31st to January 30th. My whole account received 10,886 views based on the content I was producing. From January 31st through February 16th, so that's 17 days according to Instagram, and my account has had 170,142 views on my content and my profile. 13.8% is coming from ads. So what does that equate to? 170K times 0.138. 23,000 views are coming from ads. The other 150,000 views is coming from my content on my own through trial and through my profile. Y'all, to have that unlock, to finally have people seeing my content is like the best feeling in the world. To know that that was the type of content I was producing. And I really haven't changed a whole lot other than being intentional with trying to drive people to my checkout page, because that's ultimately the new goal, right? The new target. It's such a great feeling to know that I now have movement. So I have had 2,820 profile activities in that time frame from January 31 to February 16. That's 2,761 profile visits and 59 link taps to my checkout page. So the ads are working, but also it's a strong indication my content is working. And that is the mix you want. You don't want to be so heavily dependent on ads. So that is why I'm trying to sell my course organically first so that I know it works without running ads and being dependent on ads. I will be running ads, but I want to sell this thing 100 times before I do that because it's a strong indication it will do well with ads. So that's where we are. All right, let's get into search bar confessions. And really this week, it's more about me trying to figure out greenhouse stuff. So polycarbonate sheets, which is greenhouse material, the see-through panels, floor drain covers, trying to figure out how we are going to not allow rodents into my greenhouse, but still allow me to get the water out. Recessed drains, greenhouse drains, I did all of the Googling. Threshold extenders, trying to figure out how my doors are going to work, my exterior doors, radiant flooring in my bathroom, election dates. Actually, early election voting is right now in Texas. So if you're in Texas, you're listening to this, go get out and early vote. There's a lot of things that you are voting for right now. A lot of things in my city, like our mayor is up for debate, our county judges, etc. So this is an important one too for local. And I think that is really, if I step on my governor nerd soapbox, your local elections are really, really important because that is how you affect change in your own community. And then pantry design, because I have not figured out how exactly it's going to work in my pantry. So that is my search bar confessions for the week. Let's dive into the business nugget, which is all about leveraging Instagram. It's just a continuation of the conversation of what is going on for me in my Instagram. And it's so awesome to know that I have an experiment that's legitimately working that you could yourself replicate, truly. Like you can't replicate me, but you can replicate hearing what I'm talking about. So if you need to go in and analyze the followers on your Instagram and make sure they are in alignment with the content you're sharing, if they're not, start deleting, and then get yourself into a consistent posting schedule. And it really is about how much content you can create consistently in a day. So the one person that I am like truly watching, she has one piece of content ahead of me in a day. So she's producing 5 pieces of content a day, and I'm producing 4. I don't think I have the sanity to do 5. So we are holding strong at 4. And just going with that. So again, a real fast recap of my current strategy. 1 feed reel at 7 a.m., that's automatically like posted and scheduled through Instagram, 1 pitch story once the previous one falls off, and 2 trial reels, one around 8:30, one around 9:30. That is my current strategy, right? And my target, remember me talking about targets and goals a previous episode ago? My current target is 1 sale a day, and like really getting good at 1 sale a day. Obviously, it will be a total bonus if there's more than 1 sale that comes in a day, but my goal is 1 sale a day. That's my first target. So what I'm still trying to ascertain, what percent types of content do I do? Since I am still reviving an Instagram account, and growing community is very important to me, and my why means a lot. Making sure people understand how easy it is to start a garden in their own backyard, how easy it is to have access to food that they control where it comes from, and what kind of freedom that actually gives somebody, what kind of control that actually gives somebody. That is my why on why I'm gardening and why I'm talking about it and why I have a course talking about how to stop garden pests organically. Because the word organically, I feel, is very sensationalized. It simply means you're not using chemicals or pesticides. Now, there are a few things that I do use. One is considered a chemical. It's neem oil, but it's still an organic product. It is not something that will hurt something else in my garden. And I still even use that very sporadically. Like I only use these kinds of things when I actually need them. I try to remove pests manually when I can. I try to control when I see eggs show up. I try to control that manually without using sprays because I am very, I don't want to hurt my beneficial population. I need those guys working when I'm not in my garden. So all that to say, that is still what I'm trying to ascertain is what percentage of my content needs to be doing what percentage of what thing. So if the goal is 1 sale a day, I need to be getting comments that are triggering my keyword through ManyChat to get people to my checkout page. That is how ultimately I get 1 sale a day. So the goal to try to get to that target is I need for my reels. So let's say something gets 3,800 views. Right now, I need to check to see what they're doing on average. They're performing so well. Like I've got a few that have hit in the 20K page views, that's website, in the 20K views range, which is so wild. But I haven't actually analyzed what has been going on, like on average, as far as views for my content. But like I posted the first reel this morning at 7 a.m. and 2 hours later, it's already at 656 views. Now, that is now a normal. This time in January, I was sitting at 20 views. So the movement is crazy. Like yesterday's, well, I don't really know because I'm also getting signals from Instagram. This is what is really great about, I'm going to interrupt myself. This is what is really great about trial reels. If Instagram alerts you that a trial reel is doing well and do you want to share it to your profile, say yes. I want you to say yes. So you have to know that what you are putting over in trial will also perform well for your followers. Now, Instagram is going to just keep pushing it out, and you still have the capacity to get more non-followers to see it when you say yes, go ahead and post it, but it will open it up to your followers as well. So you want to be intentional even with what you're posting on trial, still makes sense for it to land in your feed if somebody is landing on your profile and scrolling to see what content you're producing. So yesterday I got that notification, I think 3 times. A reel that I posted 2 days ago finally picked up in trial. I posted it over, and then yesterday's both trial reels did well. I pulled them over. So one of them yesterday is sitting at 23,000 views. It posted either in the 8:30 slot or the 9:30 slot. I don't remember when it went out, which one went at what time, but it's got 23,000 views on it. Now, if my goal is 1% of those views needs to be comments, and it's not, then I have to get better at figuring out how to get more comments. So 45% of your efforts to get more comments needs to be based on you getting more views. Like 45% of your effort needs to be such compelling content that it gets views. And then 45% of your effort needs to be about writing better hooks, which ultimately gets you more views. And then 10% is shared between the keyword you're using for the ManyChat automation and what you promise to do in exchange for that keyword. So what do they get if they use the keyword? Like being very clear about what they get. So 90% of your efforts have to be on how do you get more views and how do you create such compelling hooks in order to get people engaged that want to leave a comment. So if I look at the one that has been live for a full day that is sitting at 23,000 views, it shows me I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 comments. One person I think wrote in their language. So that is not going to trigger the word. I don't know what language it is. But anyways, so I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 comments that triggered my ManyChat automation with 23,000. So what I should be getting, so let's just say 23,000 times 0.01, I should have 230 comments, and I don't. So I have to get better at conveying what I'm telling you based on what I want you to do. So I have to get better at connecting the message. And I have not got that figured out yet. That is what I'm working on. Because again, the target is 1 sale a day. I need 1% comments per views. So if I get 10 views, only 1% of those 10 views needs to be a comment, whatever that might be. It's probably really terrible. Let's say 100 views, 1%. So I should get 1 comment on 100 views. So I have to get better at getting people to comment. That is what is now my focus is how do I get more comments? Now, here are some things that you can think about if you are also like trying to figure that out. I have a checklist that I have in one of the GPTs. I actually have been trying Claude. I had somebody say they liked Claude better than ChatGPT. And initially I thought Claude was way more like my personality. But Claude is having the same issues that Chat has, where you stay in the same chat long enough and it stops remembering what it's supposed to be doing. So I have a checklist for like what I want to convey in my caption. And those kinds of questions are like, did I get to the point? Am I talking to my best friend? Am I clear? Like, is this related to the hook? Is the caption like expanding and creating curiosity? Like all of those. And that's more like copywriting things. And I can go into that in a future episode once I have it dialed in. But that is what I'm running my content through. But there's a checklist for how do I get more comments? And like the first question you ask yourself, are you asking for comments? You should be asking for comments. And so if you aren't using ManyChat yet, please go get that free trial, 14 days at the pro level. And then it's like $10 a month for you to use this until you like hit a threshold of how many emails you're collecting. And you can control that by exporting and keeping yourself in that level, exporting out your contacts. Okay. And then deleting them in ManyChat. You don't need to save them in ManyChat. ManyChat is simply automation. You don't want ManyChat doing anything else for you. So are you asking for comments? Is the CTA actually to comment, or are you asking them to DM you? Are you making sure the CTA is displayed prominently? It's not buried. Are you switching up the keyword that they're supposed to comment? Are you clearly communicating what they will get in the comment? Are you giving them a no-brainer reason to comment? Is the keyword itself relevant to the result they will get? So that is also what you do to make sure that you are trying to get comments. So that is where I'm still disconnected, is trying to figure out if my goal is 1% of my views, how do I get a better, stronger connection to getting people to comment? And if I don't have, like if the goal of the content itself is to not get a comment, is to get a follow, then I need to be more clear about that. Like follow along for more organic gardening advice. If it's not compelling enough to get them over to my actual course, right? Because you have to have a good mix of nurture content and monetization content. And I think that mix, truly it's got to be an 80-20 mix when you are in my stage, because community is still a focus for me. So maybe it's a 50-50. I don't know. Like I've said, I'm producing 4 pieces of content a day, and the story is a monetization piece, and 2 other pieces need to be a monetization piece, and one of them could be a nurture piece. But like where's the happy medium? That's what I'm still trying to figure out, and why I need to analyze all the content so I can see where my gaps are, because I do want, at minimum, my target is 1 sale a day. Okay. Again, go get that mini chat started for you. I promise you it's kind of life-changing. Go to bossgirlcreative.com/mini chat to get started today. And until next week, I hope you have a great rest of this one.
And flow. Let's talk. Let's go.
And like my 3-year-old self said, that is all for this week. Friendly reminder to rate and review my show wherever you are listening. And last but not least, I'd love to hear from you. Leave me an audio message at bossgirlcreative.com/speak. I would love to hear your takeaways, ideas for upcoming episode topics, and your feedback. Thank you again for listening to this week's episode. And until next time, I hope you have a great rest of this one.